La da da da. I'm so sorry. I am really sorry. Not joking. Not a sincere. You'll get one apology because a sincere apology is all. You only need one when you mean it. If you can get here on time, I should be able to get here on time. I won't give you the details as to why I just poured a bowl of cornflakes into my face. And I was in no way cleaning bits of cornflake out of my teeth there. And I'm not having my vitamin pill. Look at the size of that. Look. Fermented, that is. Fermented. It's quite the vitamin pill, though. Hmm. It's better to eat with food, though, because when you have water, it's just there. It's just all there. 10 points to Vart, the quietest of Varts as well. Nice one, Anglisana. Let me give you that as it should have been, loud and proud. That's absolutely more link it. Thank you, Anglo. Very generous, very kind. It is the grease that keeps this machine moving. This is the second stream of the day. And yeah, probably it's 1 o'clock in the morning here, Saturday night. I've still got to get this bit of dialogue finished for it's both the novel and Substack. But now I've had about 26 new subscribers after this shout out thread. Lumi, I don't know if you caught up with everything I was saying yesterday, but I shouted you out. That's why I went there actually. It just shows you that helping people out does you good, not just karma, but practically. I went over to the Substack shout out thread to give Lumi a little shout out and ended up getting about 30 new subscribers. So, amazing. That's how life works. I didn't think I'd do that well out of it. But when you got new subscribers, you have to, you know, you have to get them hooked. You have to get them addicted. But what am I trying to do? Oh, yeah, I got a wet arm apparently. But I'm not joking. In anything, that's part of branding, part of marketing as well. If with, I think I've talked about this before, but with when you sign up to a shop, if you go to a shop, when you go to an internet shop and it says, let me try and get me a bit brighter, a bit lighter here. Sorry about the Panthers. If you when you go to a shop, they're always after your email, and they sign up here, get 20% if you sign up here, sign up and get free. I went to a magic shop online the other day, and speaking of which, Pizzle, let me know if you're in here. I went to this magic shop the other day, and it said get 5 free magic tricks to join our mailing list, and you can unsubscribe at any time. Now, I've been in that game for 40 years. So I knew what kind of tricks they were, but I thought, there might be something worth having a look at. And this is how it works. You have a bit of if you've got decent marketing software like Klaviyo or MailChimp or something, Klaviyo is the best, really. You can pay me for that if you want Klaviyo. As soon as they sign up, they then are in a flow chart. It's called a flow. Vart. That was ballsy. Thank you, Anglo, for that. Very kind. Nice one. What's the name? Eldritch Catastrophe asked me to say hello to you and the Scrubs. He's watching the fights. Good Lord. Is there UFC on? Oh, no. Speaking of UFC, we ain't seen Marzipan for a while, have we? Say hello to Eldritch from us. You enter a flow chart. So so when you go, okay, I'll sign up. Thank you, what's name for that, passing that message on and the donation. So you enter. It's called a flow. So in the old days, when someone joined your mailing list, they'd just be on a list, and when you sent out an email, you'd send it to your mailing list. But these days, they enter a flow. So the first thing is, have they bought anything? And if it's yes, they go down this side. If it's no, they go down this side. What have they bought? They've bought blah, 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 blah. That can put them into any one of, say, 5, different directions. They've bought, say it's a clothing shop, they've bought dresses and underwear for women. Okay, so it's a female, they buy female clothes, this kind of style, youthful kind of style, rather than an older lady, rather than a larger lady. So a young, thin woman, which that could have been a young, thin woman, middle-aged, standard sized woman, older, thin woman, blah, all different, they could go into all of those. So the software works all that out. And so at the end of all that flow, it says, okay, send them this, within a day. They've signed up, which means they're browsing for your kind of products. They'll be now browsing other shops. Get them an email. Send them an email. Thanks for signing up. Here's your gift. Oh, a gift. And how many of you have seen that in the subject? Oh, your gift is waiting, or something like that. You open it up. Here's your 20% off gift, but you've got 2 days to use it. If they click on that and go to the shop, you go into another part of the email. Okay, they open emails, but they didn't buy the product. So that moves them to a different thing. And then they get a different email. So all your behavior, even if you're not buying anything, will put you into a different part of an automated flow of campaigns that can involve 500 to 1,000 and probably more different emails that will go to you depending on your demographic, what you've already bought, the sort of what you haven't bought, what you like, how many times you visit the shop. I told you before, there's heat maps that show where the customer's cursor has gone on the screen. When shops say things like, we do not sell your data, and you always think it's things like your name and your age. Well, it doesn't. The stuff that's worth getting is things like, where are they looking on the page? Like a decent landing page is going to have what? It's going to have a value proposition, a call to action. And so if someone goes there and the heat map suggests that most people are looking at this little bit over in the bottom, say there on the screen, but your call to action is up here. So based on that heat map, that is an average of your last 30,000 people, because people tend to look where they put their cursor. It's a tendency, but it's pretty reliable. So when people are looking at website, their cursor tends to go, they move it where their eyes go. And so you look at that heat map and you go, well, hang on a minute, everyone's looking over here. So you move your call to action, which might be something like, buy today and buy one, get one free today only. That's up here. You move that over there. Or similar, you work out, what are they all looking at? What's attracting them to this part of the site or whatever. I nearly just popped a Roman. I don't know if any of you caught that. Just because I improvise the responses. Let me mute because I've got a real VART to do. Hang on. Thank you. Imagine that, popping an improvised Romana. I wonder how that would go down in court. I wonder if you could suggest, if when we're all living under a ruthless and barbaric and murderous tyranny, not far away from there in some places now. I wonder whether you could. I might have to look into this. This could be quite interesting. But whether your legal team could get psychoanalysts involved and say, no, it was unconscious. He wasn't conscious of his choice of words. He wasn't conscious. Like, people get off for being nuts, don't they? People get off for being clinically insane. No, he's mad. Well, what is mad? I mean, if you take an axe to someone, like a little ratchet, or a hatchet, or a ratchet, and you about 80 times in their head, and someone else does the same murder, but when they ask you, you've got a decent job, you're articulate, you're well presented, and the other bloke looks like the fucking Wolfman of Dartmoor and just is in court going, said that, someone's speaking. People do get off. Yes, they go to madhouses, and the old One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest harbours a lie, a fantastic novel, Ken Kesey, incredible storyteller, but it harbours a lie. No, it doesn't harbour a lie, actually, it doesn't. But the protagonist harbours a mistake, because the idea is I'd rather go to the madhouse than a normal prison. But no, you wouldn't. They're awful places, madhouses. You know, psych wards are all, as One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest turns out to show you. You know, people die in it and people kill themselves, and it's a hideous place. But you can, I wonder whether you could actually simply say, or like a Freudian slip, aka parapraxis. You know, you could just say, if they say, oh, he called this person a restricted, it's bizarre saying, isn't it? A restricted word. He called a protected group a restricted word. If I'd have said that to you 20 years ago, you'd have thought this is like some kind of science fiction. You know, the idea of having to defend yourself, and the prosecution is saying, I say that you are, no, the judge goes, you are here in court today for saying offensive words to a protected group. You would have just thought, wow, what kind of futuristic stuff is this? But that's happening every day now. People are ending up in court because they said something. So I wonder if your defense could be it was a Freudian slip. And then you could prove Freudian slips. You know, you might be able to, your legal team would have to get loads of footage off of the internet or you know, from the archives of cinema and television, and people say doing Freudian slips. And say, and you know, you say to the jury, you know, we have just shown you 100 examples of people who meant to say one thing but instead said another. Yeah, it's the old one. It's always good. Works every time. And so you now believe us that such a thing exists, and that's what our client done. He's in no way hateful. He just happened to call someone that word. I might have to look into that. I mean, I don't know where I'd look for that, but I think the there's public access to trials that have already happened. I'm sure, certainly in America anyway, because I heard someone talking about that the other day. But yeah, it'd be amazing, wouldn't it? But just your defense is it was my unconscious, not my consciousness. And if the prosecutors say, you know, if they'd have to argue that there's no such thing as the unconscious, and if they're going to say that, you're going to say, well, you're kind of saying that psychiatry, psychology, psychoanalysis doesn't exist. You're going back 120 years in terms of understanding how humans behave. Maybe they're right. Maybe there isn't an unconscious. I mean, I firmly believe there is. It was interesting. The only good thing I got out of being with that psychotic bird, who does get an absolute hiding in my novel, as I've said before, for no other reason that I know she'll read it and she won't be happy. I'm not bitter. It's just she deserves it. And well, those of you who've read my Substack, you'll know that I address that in it. You know, it's part of the joke. You know, I keep sort of saying, look, I'm over it, but just one more thing that happened. But when I was studying Freud, and I read pretty much everything that Freud wrote himself that's been translated into English, pretty much all of it, including case studies. And I tell you what, if you want a really, really interesting read Freud's case studies. Little Hands it's an absolute classic. This little kid is terrified of horses, and it's not the horse he's scared of. Let's just say it's more to do with the low-hanging fruit, shall we call it? That's a cracking case history. Dora's a very famous Freudian case history. And the Rat Man is, I personally, I think it's great literature. Because what you've got to remember, the Wolf Man as well. So yeah, Dora, Little Hands, the Rat Man, and the Wolf Man. Read those Freud case histories. They're written by him. If you're not up on your Freud, I would also suggest to read Introductory Lectures to Psychoanalysis. At least read that before the case studies. It ain't that heavy. Possibly Studies in Hysteria as well. But if you just read Introductory Lectures Part 1 and then the case studies, you'll have it's really interesting. And then sort of step out of it a bit and then look into the cultural context of when this was all happening, like the interpretation of dreams, which is Freud's magnus opus. That was published in 1905, and that was his bestseller, and it was a bestseller. And it's not one of those books where your mate says, "Oh, I dreamt that my ears fell off," and you go, "Ears falling off, ears falling off." Oh, ears falling off means that you don't like your uncle very much. It's not that at all. The interpretation of dreams is contextual within your life. Two people could have the same dream, and it would mean totally different things because they're totally different people. But if two people did have the exact same dream, I'd probably be very concerned. But yeah, the context that also, when I first read Little Hands, right, it's Hans. He's a German kid. It's not Little Hands like Mr. Hands, the bloke who a horse fucked him to death, didn't he? I told you about the film Zoo. Yeah, that Mr. Hands, that was his internet name. He's on video being fucked to death by a horse. Yeah. How weird that Little Hands was terrified of the horse and his low-hanging member. But you find out, I found out afterwards, and this is what was mind-blowing, I found out afterwards that Little Hands' father, who had a big black moustache, much like the black furry part of the reins that the horse had on, and all this symbolic stuff links up. And obviously the horse's member and the father-son relationship, and castration complex, and all the libidinal stuff that's going on in a young boy's mind. Then you find out, I found out like a year later, that his father, Little Hans' father's job was to make restraining equipment for unruly children. Let me see if I can get a picture of it up. After you've read it and you're like, yeah, okay, that all makes sense. And you are thinking, there's a couple of things that seem unanswered though. And then you find out that, let me see if I can find it. Hang on. There's a picture of one of his dad's inventions. There's also a picture somewhere of Freud with Little Hands on his. Oh, did you hear that? Fucking hell, sounds like Little Hands is outside. Oh, there's a picture of Freud with Little Hands sitting on his lap. But I really would like to show you this. His dad made this chair that, like, it's just like if your kid's naughty, you put it in him. No, don't do that to your naughty kid. And you strap him in. It's just a restraint. It's just what you do with like a psychotic adult. It's like the chair like the electric chair, but for your 4-year-old kid who's smashing things up. So there's an incredible story about it. And Dora, which is another amazing case study, and some of it's in the interpretation of dreams as well. Turns out that Dora was the daughter of like a very, I can't remember who it was exactly, but a very well-to-do and sort of well-known, I don't know if they're aristocracy, but potentially government figure. And when I think Dora was a hysteric in the classical Charcot sort of definition of hysteria, and it was a bit like, get who's this new fella Freud who seems to be this talking cure, because that's what it was called, the talking cure. It came out of that when it started gaining ground when people were coming back from the First World War and they were shell shocked and they didn't know how to treat them because physically they were all right, but they were sort of going. And they wanted them to get back out and fight, and they found out about this talking cure, which doesn't sound that ludicrous to us today, but in those days it was quite the thing. So the bigger picture, once you've got into the case studies, you realize there's more things going on. When you're like 4 or 5 year old kid is having dramas and it turns out his dad makes essentially torture equipment for children. Oh, there's a missing bit of the puzzle that Freud failed to mention. No, it's really good stuff, mate. It's really interesting read. Mousecat says, did you get my entropy from the stream where it stopped working? Run out of super chat words available to say St. Witty now. Fuck it. The one you mentioned the other day. Now, hang on a minute. Can I do this? Let me see if I can open up another entropy while I'm live. I said I'd do this. Oh, I think I can. Hang on, Mousecat. I can. We might get in a bit of trouble, though. Hang on. Was it on the Friday? Was it on Friday? Shit. Did you send me 25 quid on Friday? Was that the one that I missed? 25 beans, and you said it's Friday, been an okay sort of week, have it. I thought I read that one out, but maybe I didn't. But if that's the one you're referring to, Mr. Cat, Mr. Cat, having a lovely time. It's great the weekend, isn't it? If it's that one, I can confirm I got that, and thank you for that one, and thank you for that one. Machano Capresca Tato. That was a cracking couple of emails from you last week as well. I had a similar conversation with JC, not Jules Citizen, the other fella, about just getting on it, getting things done, making it happen. A little bit of mutage there for you. I didn't put calling on the thumb. If you notice my thumbnails, they're getting a bit flashy, aren't they? And guess what I'm going to do? I'm going to move this table so that the background to the stream is that wall there. So I'm actually going to have finally an actual. It will look like a YouTube channel. There won't be a chair on this table on the ceiling. There won't be 20 litres of water. It will be like a studio. Because essentially that corner is a little studio. Look, that's a corner. You might not be able to make it out unless I go like that. But I'll have that picture off the wall. But that wall, that side wall. Oh, we're going up in the world. Don't you worry about that. Right. So let's get some people in. Let's see what's to come in. Now, I'm going to tell you an embarrassing story. And I was going to say this on the thumbnail, but if you've got any embarrassing stories you want to come and tell us, see you later, Little Red. Not a problem. Enjoy yourself, though. Good to see Danesfield on Park. Bye. I don't know what on Park is, but that'll be all right. Hello, Dennis. Good to see you. I'm going to tell you, I think I've told you this before, but it's a very cringe situation. Yeah, I might. What? Oi, Pax Max. I'll get a green screen, right? And I'll take a photo of that, and it'll imagine, and then I'll move it over there, do all the hassle with the furniture, and then have the same background. Done it. Why is everyone getting CT'd? Who's CTing it? La Luna Tracy. Hello, La Luna Tracy. Keep it real. Listen, I say a lot of things. If it involves effort, the fucking Vartamation. Did you hear it? They heard that in fucking Vietnam. The utter Vartanation on that. Look, even Otto knows it's Tres Po. Oh, I'm missing out on CT here. Did you really? What the hell's going on? Nice one, Mouse Cat. Well, sorry about that. I do apologise. That's very kind of you. Yes, Anglo. Yeah. You're good. I'll tell you the story. It's quite a cool one, actually. So the missus has got it's her time of the month, right? So she's a bit up and down. So I've been exploiting her to make marketing videos in scantily clad. And I asked her if she'd do one. She went, no. I went, whoa, okay then. All right, no problem. And then she said she was going to go out. And I said, well, all right. She said, "Do you want to come out?" And I said, "No, I don't want to drink. I don't fancy drinking. And if I have a drink, I'll have a bifter. And I'm just too old and tired." But I said, crack on, go out, go have your friend. She said, "All right." But then her friend blew her out. But because she'd already committed, I'd already committed to a YouTube stream. So here we are. It was quite funny. It was quite a funny little relationship, sort of, because nothing was said, but we both knew what was going to happen. No, but the week before tends to be the dark bit, doesn't it? Anyway, enough about my missus. What's the CT? What am I missing? I feel like I'm not saying hello or saying hello, Willie Fisterbottom. Are you new in these parts? Good to see you. There's a few. I don't recognise La Luna Tracy either, but you're more than welcome to come here and hang out. Look, the other thing, this is something I am going to do though. Tomorrow, I'm going, because my missus has been raving about the gym. I used to go to the gym. When I lived in Soho, I went to the gym for about 4.5 years, every other day, and really enjoyed it as well. I did get a bit too big at one point. I told you, didn't I? It took a gamer to say to me, he went, "That muscle Mary look doesn't suit you." And I thought, yeah, I have been wearing tight t-shirts and looking in the mirror a bit much. But at my age, gravity is starting to kick in. So I think just a little bit of toning. And I keep saying I'm going to go to this $1 a day gym, but it's a fucking 15-minute motorbike ride. And I just haven't got round to it. So I thought, I know how to train. I'll get myself a bench. I'll get myself a standard bar. I'll get some weights. I can do all my muscle groups with a bench and a standard bar and some weights. So tomorrow I'm going down the gym shop, the gym equipment shop, and I'm going to get a bench and a bar and some weights. And that'll be lovely. Be lovely just be able to knock out a few high reps, low weights, high reps, low weights. I won't be doing any of that high weight, low rep stuff though, because last time it was ridiculous. I was fucking huge. It cost me a fortune in getting all my suits adjusted, especially when I lost it all again and had to get them tightened up again. Sir Grego. You never fully filled us in on your near-death experience. I hope you're feeling a bit better though, son. Oh, that wasn't meant to happen. I've just put some arrows on your donation. This is what Sir Grego of Gregorian said. Right, I will get this. Oh, you can't even see me, can you? Let me get some brightness on the firm. this won't take a second. Hello, right there. It's better, isn't it? There he is. Oh, ceiling table. There you go. People are voting to keep it. It probably won't happen. It means moving a chest of drawers and a huge. I mean, this table's massive. It's got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 seats. It's a long old table. I ain't moving any of it. What I might do though is just turn this computer around and then have that as the backdrop, but take that painting down. So you'll have that nice fan effect there. That actually might happen. Come on, people, change. It has, change is sometimes. I think you might like it in the end, because sometimes I feel like I've got, like lumps of metal coming out my head. I've had lumps of metal going into my head, but not again. Did I just shut that down? What the hell's going on? Share screen, selector, share, press that. Grego said, sometimes a cigar is just a girl penis. Get over it, bigot. Woke Freud. Sorry, people, when I have those, what I like to call mega blasts, I usually mute it. It's not a particularly nice sound, is it? Anyway, thank you, Grego. Well, while I say thank you, actually, piss off. I've been doing plenty of other writing during that period, though. It's just the way it goes. How long's your novel taken, Grego? Thank you for the donation, mate, and I'm glad you're still alive. There must be a way of turning that down without having to turn my master volume down. This is Master Control Central. Right, I'm going to tell you my cringe moment. It's a really embarrassing moment, right? So, and then I'm going to open it up. You can come on. You can do audio only if you want, but at first sign of dodgy technology, I'm going to yeet you because it's disgusting. Sorry, I've got cornflakes sticking my moustache and my mouth together. So it was my first year at Dartington, and I'd already done 2 years at art school. I'd done a foundation and what was an OND in those days. And I went off to do my degree. And I come back to Dartford, and there was already a bit of hostility from a group of mates that I was hanging around with. Now, 3 of them are still very, very good friends of mine who I talk to regularly. But about 7 of them, none of me and that other 3 have heard nothing of for years. But they were already gutted that I was living it up, having the time of my life at art school, and had been for 3 years. And their adult life was really shit jobs and not any birds, basically, Whereas I managed to get through a couple of years of speed, acid, and alcohol, and enjoy going to art school, they hadn't made plans, and there was resent in the air, right? And I've seen it plenty of times. I'll tell you this, right? This happened to me. This happened to Bally G. This happened to so many people at art school that I knew over the years. They'd have a friend come from their old life. They'd go, you've got to come down, you've got to come to visit. There's birds everywhere. There's a load of lads. They're all a good laugh. There's loads of there's parties all the time. You're going to love it. And they mean it. The bloke I said this to, I'd been like best mates with since we were about 7 years old. Really. Come down, you're going to love it. And he was like, yeah. Came down. I introduced him to all my mates. We done acid. And after about 20 minutes, he started looking all suspicious. And I noticed it, and I thought, oh, come on, don't do this one. And I went, oi, we'll call him Jake. I went, oi, Jake, you all right? All right? And I've got 8 of my new best friends because I've been living in the same house with them all, at the same art school with them all for like a year at this point. And he went, I know you're all talking in a different language to make me feel like I'm not one of you. Now, weirdly, he wasn't completely wrong, because we were studying art, we were studying literature, we were talking about postmodernism, and when we done acid, that we debated that sort of stuff. And when I was doing acid with him in Dartford, we were just getting pissed and trying to bang birds. So he got this idea in his head that we were doing it deliberately, and then I think he got it in his head that it was like set up, that we weren't actually interested in what we were talking about, but that we'd all gone, just use loads of long words and things that he doesn't understand, which wasn't the case at all. And, you know, it was only like a 10-minute conversation. It wasn't like we said, oh, do acid and listen to us discuss Foucault. You know, we were getting ready to go out to a boozer. And I went, no, no. And in front of everyone, and you could see everyone else thinking, oh, no. In the end, we all went to the boozer, and I thought, get a couple of jars in him and it'll counteract the acid a little bit, and they'll just be like, oh yeah, sorry about that, fuck knows, and then we'll just be lads again. Got to the pub. What are you drinking, Jake? Nah, no, just a water, please. And I thought, fucking hell. And I've been best mates with this kid since we were children. Anyway, I thought, fuck it then. In the end, one of my other mates took him back to where we lived, the police houses. And I thought, no, I'm fucked if I'm doing that. No, I'm not. I made a rule. If you're going to do acid, you look after yourself. Because people get demanding. They deliberately start going. I had one bloke who'd done too much drugs once go to me, listen, you've got to talk to me for 5 hours. I was like, I can understand why you might want that to happen, but I can assure you, you've had your 5 seconds. And then I remember finally, at about 6 o'clock in the morning, finally managing to get enough vodka and weed in me to fall asleep. Woke up the next day and I thought, thank fuck that acid's over. What a nightmare that was. You know, he thought he was going mad and we were all trying to freak him out. But today he'll sort of say, yeah, sorry, I had a bad trip. No. Woke up the next morning, he was in the kitchen, bags packed, coat on. I was like, what are you doing? He went, yeah, oh, I'm going back to Dartford. Like, what are you talking about? You only got down here yesterday. You're meant to be staying for a week. Oh, there's loads of parties this week. He went, nah, it's not for me. He's never been the same since. Really. He went from quite a sort of a boisterous sort of extrovert to a real kind of shy, nervous bloke. Now, here's the weird thing, though. I saw that happen to about, I don't know, 7 or 8 other people. Not the same thing, not the acid. Bally G had his best mate from childhood come and stay. It ended up with Bally repeatedly punching him in the face one night because he threw a book cupboard at Paul. Same thing. You know, oh, you and all your mates, you know, you think you're all that now. What? No, we're just having a laugh. They like you. They think you're all right. Oh, I know what you lot are talking about. What? It just doesn't work, because what happens is, and here's the truth, in those days, art school was fucking brilliant. It was brilliant. And I think what happens is, if, you know, and think of the age, we're looking about 17, 18 at this stage. And if you don't really know what you're doing with your life, and if you're like on the dole, or you've got some crappy job, and you suddenly go and find, you see like there's all these other kids who are having an absolute ball. You know they've got at least 3 more years of it. They're getting money from the government. They're banging birds left, right, and centre. I can understand why that would cause resent in you. Because even if you enjoy it, it's a holiday for you. You know, come next Friday, you're back to what you haven't sorted out in life. So I sort of understand it, but it just never worked. It never worked. Now, the reason I've told you all that is because there's a flip side, and that's what I started talking about. I've gone back to Dartford once, and I heard that they were all in a boozer, so I went up there. Strangely, wasn't invited though, which was weird. Now, I was about 4 years into my art school here. I done 6 years at art school altogether, and then 2 more years on my master's degree. But I remember that they were just resentful of me, and it was just like, little sort of under their breath comments and sort of, now this is the embarrassing bit. I was really sort of struggling with it all, and I didn't want to talk about anything that I was doing to do with being an artist and being an art student, because I obviously realised that was the bit that they weren't enjoying. And just out of the blue, we'd been smoking weed and we'd had a couple of beers. Now, this is very unlike me, but this stayed with me for years. It's such a cringe situation. Not the first bit, but you'll see. Out of the blue, I said, oh, guess what? I said, walking home from the boozer down in Totnes the other night, me and the mate found this dead body. We didn't. Totally made that up. And I don't know why. It was one of those, that story I told you about my Arsenal season ticket and my granddad, and when I bought my kids a new computer, it was a bit like that. I sort of was suddenly standing out myself going, hang on a minute, mate, where are you going with this one? What? You found a dead body? And they were like, what? Vart. Hail to the Vart. And they were and they engaged with it, which didn't help, because then I started going, I said, it was weird because blah, blah. And I just improvised this lie, right? Now, that's not the embarrassing bit. That's just stupid, but everyone lies. But one of the, I said 3 of that lot are still mates. Well, about a year later, one of them came down to Devon, but he'd been coming down loads, and he was really cool. He was one of the mates it did work with. He's a stay high, didn't care as long as he could smoke weed. Wasn't really there, present, absent. But anyway, we're all sitting in my front room. No, me and the people who all live in the police house, all my mates, and this bird that I just started seeing. And he'd come down. And we were all there stoned, really stoned. And he went, is this the Dave? Because I mentioned Dave, this other bloke, was with me when we found this body. And he went, is this Dave the Dave you found that dead body with? And I didn't have a clue what he was talking about. I went, eh? He went, you told us back in Dartford when you came back last year that you and Dave were walking back from the pub and you found a dead body, right? And it hit me that an absolute need to fit in lie had come home to roost, and I didn't know how to respond to it. And the whole room was sort of looking at me, not judgmentally. They just didn't know what was going on. They were like, what's this about then? And I went, wow, this is weird. And I was just trying to blag it. I was like, this is weird. Hang on a minute. And this bird I was trying to, we'd been hanging out together. I hadn't quite done the deed yet, but she was not stupid. And I went, this is really weird. And I just went into my room, and I was in my room thinking, oh, what? Why am I such an idiot? What am I going to do? And she come in and she went, are you all right? And as soon as she said, are you all right? That means, why aren't you all right? Because everyone in that room knows that there's something weird going on now. And I said to her, it's weird. I said, I think I had a dream. So still lying, right? Still lying. A year later, I should have just went, I made up some lie last year. And now I've got to tell him I was lying. But I went, I had this weird dream, and I think I told him, but it didn't actually happen. And she went, bollocks. She went, you lied and you've just been caught out. And when she said that, I was going. And then he come in, the mate who I told it to in Dartford, and he went, He went, this all seems to have got a bit out of hand. He said, have I said the wrong thing? And she just turned to me, she went, did he tell you he found a dead body with Dave? And he went, yeah. He said it was Dave who he lives with, and there's Dave in there who he lives with. So I'm thinking it must have been the same bloke. And he was thinking he'd made a mistake. And she went, yeah, he made it up. He lied. He told you he found a dead body and he didn't. And now he's telling me, yeah, it was a dream. And I was just sitting again. It was awful. It was so, and getting back into that and add to that the stoning, getting back in that front room was ridiculous. And you know what? I could have said to him, you know what, Steve, I felt really ostracised from you lot that day, and I just made something up to not talk about art school. But it didn't happen. And he would have just gone, yeah, understandable. But even when she went, after calling it out, I went to him, yeah, I think I must have dreamt that. And he looked at me and I looked at him and I thought, he ain't buying that. Yeah, I must have dreamt it. Didn't go back in the front room and just admit it. Didn't go in there and just go, look, I lied last year and I've just been caught out. I just went back in there still playing weird. Anyway, anyone want to talk about anything else apart from this fucking nightmare? It was horrific, absolutely horrific. Now, there is a denouement, though. About 6 months later, me and Mumford, walking down the river, we found a dead body. And I shit you not, we did. In Totnes, in Devon. Rung the old bill and everything. You can clear that with Baldy G. He turned out to be alive, so he wasn't actually dead. Wasn't actually dead. But we thought he was. We couldn't find a pulse or anything. And when the old bill turned up, they went, yeah, he turns up like this quite a lot. And they were like, come on, Adam, come on, mate. And one of the old bill went to the river and filled up, I think it was like an empty crisp bag, just poured it on his head, and he was like, oh no, John, me too. I mean, I've always, honesty is what's got me through my adult life. But you learn from things like that. But it was out of character for me. And what I thought was that, why was I under so much pressure? If they didn't want me to be their friend, fuck them. Why was I compromising my own integrity just to be accepted by a bunch of cunts? And they were a bunch of cunts. And like I say, the 3 people I still talk to, they don't see any of that lot anymore anyway. It was weird. So if you've got any embarrassing or cringe, it doesn't have to be like that. It doesn't have to be anything like that. It could just be something stupid like, I told you the other one, that tutor that came on here, my old art tutor, he come on here. He let me and Baldy G, Mumford, stay at his house once when he went away. We weren't students at this point either. We'd both left college. And he just said we could have his house, and we were living in Totnes. So I was like, sweet. And I went up to the toilet, and I laid one. We'll call it a one. I laid an amber. I laid an amber turd on a bit of tissue paper, and I thought I'll go downstairs, ask Mumford if he wants breakfast. When he says yes, because he's always hungry, I'll go, here you go. I've got it in my hand, and it'll be a fresh steaming turd. So I've laid it, and it's fresh and it's steaming. I've gone down the stairs, and as I've gone into the front room, the kitchen, which was like the front room, it's weird to explain, but I'm sure you understand. There's a big window there, and it had 2 windows open. And just as I've gone in there with this turd in my hand, a bloke stuck his head in the window, and he went, is Tim here? That's the tutor. And I had to just quickly put it behind my back. And so Mumford can now see that I've got a real poo. It was about that long and about that round. I've got a steaming turd behind my back. And he went, Mumford can see it, and he can see this bloke. And I'm like, oh, he's not here at the moment. He went, oh, do you know when he'll be back? And Paul's going, he went, Chris, let him in, mate. He went, let him in. Don't make him stand out there in the cold. He went, open the door. I was going. I don't know when he's coming back, mate. I said, I can pass the message on. Paul's going, let him in. Look, and well, in fairness, it was like a cold, wet February morning. Just open the door. So, the sex box. They love it here. I think we should welcome them. Hi, sex box. You need to do your analytics, because I think I can safely say the Scrubs ain't putting too much money your way. So, and there is someone somewhere having to do that manually. Someone is having to press a few buttons to get them here. Stupid. Crazy. Right. So if you've got anything embarrassing or cringe, so these are the and don't worry, no one's going to judge it. They don't have to be hilarious or super cringe. Just these are the criteria for people coming on: cringe, embarrassing, or lying. It can be you or someone else that lied. Like I told you before about my girlfriend who told me she had cervical cancer. That was a lovely week. Thanks for that. So it can be someone else lying. A lie was told to you. Something embarrassing you saw. It's always better when it's you, though. If you cringed, you done something cringe or embarrassing or lied. But let's just see if anyone can. Good work, Steve. Well done, mate. The old mods don't get the respect they're due. Look, they're back again. God, piss off. Right, let's see if. Hello, Tech Roach. Good to see you, mate. And I mean that. Really good to see you. Yeah, exactly, Ticklick. Good. Fartation. That was the volcano of Var. That rocked the house. Have the sex box signed up to your Substack. Oi, they are my Substack. Oh my God, John, well, come on and tell us about that, mate. It's fucking darkness. There, that's darkness. Well, look, I'll put the link in the chat. And if anyone's got anything of those things. Hello, Loki. Good to see you, mate. Hello, Niggling Bill. There's the link. You've only got to do audio. Pax Max, loud noise. No, Pax Max. That I know how to change the volume of my computer. What I want to do is change the volume of the Paint software without changing my master volume. I'm wondering whether the notification noise on PaintShop Pro version 8 from 2007, because when I close a window, it goes bling, but I want the volume up for the Vartation Arcus. So, that one, Dennis, that's such a cop-out. Too many weird ones I'd rather forget. I'll tell you what Ricata Law said on his stream the other night, and I thought, don't it? I ate that one. He said they were talking about cocaine because of Johnny Depp and all that. And I bet loads of you have heard this as well. And he said, after some long and tedious preamble, and I was thinking, don't, Nick. I know where this is going. You're better than this. You're better than this. And it ended with, so that's why I don't go. I've never tried cocaine because I know I'll like it too much. That is bullshit. And what I don't like about it, hello, Packer. There you go. 1 second, Packer. Let me just finish this little tale. There's a bit of crackling going on there, son. I don't know if that's you or me.
I can't hear anything. Hello.
All right. No, I was waving at your little one.
Sod him.
Right. So he went. So the thing about that comment, the reason I don't go near it is because I'd like it too much. That's them still trying to have the I would take hard drugs kudos, which doesn't exist anyway. But do you say that about food? Oh, would you like to try some lobster? I'm not going to try lobster because I'll like it too much. Oi, do you want to come and watch the football the weekend? I've got a spare ticket. No, I'm not going to go and watch the football. I might like it too much. I know what I'm like. Stupid. Anyway, right, Packer, are you filling time or have you got a lie, a cringe, or an embarrassment? I reckon you've got all three.
I have. Right, so the lie, not mine, the mother of my daughter, who I was
Right.
living with at the time, announced she was pregnant and said, right,
Packer,
how do you
I'm
feel
going to
about that?
mute myself. So if you don't hear me sort of sniggering and that, steady, I just said the snig word. It's not that I'm not paying attention. It's just I want you to have the air. Go for it.
Yeah, so the mother of my daughter, who I was living with at the time, lived with her for a couple of years, told me she was pregnant. And then, sure enough, 11 months later, we had a baby daughter. So that's the lie.
Oh, hang on. So she told you she was pregnant and then didn't have a kid for 11 months.
Yeah.
So there's a 2 month. I'm no expert in this, but there's 2 months adrift there.
Yeah, there's 2 months of the horses bolted.
Not nice. Not
No.
nice.
I'm sure I've told this one on here before.
Hang on, wait. Can I just ask you? So, did you stay with her because of that?
Yep.
And then, of course, you actually did get her pregnant because you'd already made that commitment. Or,
Yeah, well, up to the 9 month, obviously she did get pregnant, but then when it got to 9 months and she still hadn't had it, then I started thinking, well, this is a bit sus. And then I ceased to trust her after that. And
so
other
she
things came to
actually
light.
she was showing she had like a baby in her belly, but it wasn't due.
Well, by the time, yeah.
Wow. What did you say? What did you one day sort of say the maths ain't adding up?
No.
Oh, that's interesting. Is that because you just didn't want it? You didn't want to go, just didn't want it?
Didn't want to go there, didn't want that row.
Oh, man, I know that. I do know that. I really feel for you there.
But that only lasted about a year after my daughter was born. And then we split up, and then I didn't see my daughter for 8 years.
Yeah, but then you know that, excuse me, then you know that she is having a baby, but she also really lied to you on probably one of the, it's death and pregnancy, really, isn't it? They're the big ones. And that must have been fucking difficult. You probably thought, you fucking bitch.
Yeah.
God, how old were you?
22.
Oh my God, real early doors as well. And then she didn't let you see the kid for 8 years.
No, because we're talking early 90s, so wasn't married. So you can piss off and do one. And every time she goes to the police and says, "Oh, he's done this, oh, he said that," they're round at my house, giving me shit. And I went to solicitor and everything. The solicitor basically said to me, "Look, it's pointless. You don't stand a chance. You can just say anything, and then you've got to prove that didn't happen, or you didn't say that, or whatever." Yeah,
you're guilty until you can prove yourself innocent. Yeah.
It was ridiculous stuff, really mental stuff. I was in town one day in a marketplace, and she walked over and she was kicking the car, so I went over and stood between her and my car, and she hit me in the face. So I just turned around and walked into the police station and said, "I've just been assaulted. There must be 50 witnesses out there. What you can do about it?" And the copper behind the counter looked at me and said, "What happened?" So I told him, and he looked at me and he said, "Well, you're not marked, so it's a civil action. I'm not interested. Go away." Well, 9 o'clock that night, right? I'm in the bath, knock on my door, 2 coppers at the door. Oh, what's the matter? Well, she's rung them and said I've been round her house and hit her, right?
Oh, and so they're on your doorstep.
Yeah, they're on my doorstep. Yeah, because
you should have said it's a civil matter. I ain't interested.
Yeah, well, that's exactly what I did do. I said, "Was she marked?" And they went, "No." I said, "Well, it's a fucking civil matter. Then piss off." And they're like, "What? What?" And then I relate to them the story of what happened that morning. There was a bit. They all went, "Oh, sorry about that," and wandered off a bit sheepish.
when you finally got out of that relationship, although problematized because there's a child, I bet you had a fucking breath of fresh air, didn't you? And just sort of thought, ah, it takes a lot of healing though, doesn't it? It takes a lot of healing out though when you've been in a relationship like that.
Well, that was the time in my life when I ended up living in a caravan.
Off of the back of all that.
Yeah, because all I had was a job, and that was it. Nowhere to live or anything. Anyway, so another story.
That's a cracker though. That's an absolute cracker.
Early 90s, ripped jeans were in fashion, yeah. And there was a time when you had big rips in your jeans, but you put material behind it. There'd be something else thrown in under the holes.
I can see it.
Yeah. So I'm sitting on I've got a pair of these on.
Hang on, is this cringe and embarrassment?
Yes.
Right.
Yeah. So I'm sitting on a train. I've got on the train, Liverpool Street, I think, Central Line. Got on a tube train. You know, tube trains are set out where you've got set chairs of twos opposite each other, and then at either end of the carriage you've got 5 down the sides of the carriage facing each other.
Yeah, I think a couple of lines still have those. Yeah.
Yeah. So I've got on. Parked myself down in the middle seat of the 5, opposite 5 complete strangers on the tube, and just sat there. And I'm getting funny looks from these people on the other side of the carriage. And it wasn't until they got off at Stratford, which is an overground station. So I'm just sat there looking out the window now. And then when the train goes back in the tunnel, it goes dark and those windows become a kind of mirror. At which point I notice the chaps are out on the seat, aren't they? I'd sat there for several stops with my nads out on the chair opposite 5 complete strangers.
That's great work. Do you remember when, this is more 80s, but you'd what was it called? Ripped and frayed. So the bottom of your jeans would be frayed.
Yeah.
So you'd cut the bit that was usually hemmed, and you'd fray it a little sort of like half-inch fray all the way around, and then you'd cut each side so that the jeans sort of opened up over your beyond ball Deodoras. Yeah. So do you know what I mean? You had a little slit up the side, right? So there's a load of us jumped on the train to go uptown once, and it was the old overgrounds that had light bulbs that you could just nick, and we always used to nick them and sell them. And when it goes through a tunnel, if you've taken the bulbs out and thrown them out the window like we always did, when you go through a tunnel, it's just pitch black. And every time we went through a tunnel, everyone's just like punching each other, and by the time it's light again, everyone's sitting down, so you don't know who's who or whatever. And it's gone into the tunnel, and everyone's waiting. As soon as it's pitch black, everyone's like, bam, 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 and then everyone heard. And when we've come out the other end, one geezer, I know it was a kid called Reese, he grabbed the front of both his trousers and just gone. So his trousers were they were slit right like up to his thighs. And we were going uptown for the day. He walked around all day with like.
And he did that to himself?
No, someone else.
Right, someone did it to him. Okay.
Ripped his trousers in half. Absolute. That's exactly it. Yeah. Well, these were Lois jeans, but yeah, Lois. That was it. Proper garms, honey monster. Good call. Got any more, Packer?
Yep.
Go on.
So, when the boy was born, he's never had a bedtime until he started school, because it's an argument. It's an argument I don't think you need to have. So all the time he was a baby, whatever, he just slept when he needed to sleep. And because I've stayed up till 3 o'clock in the morning, and my missus gets up early, there was always someone there when he was awake. Yeah. So right up until he started school, he was doing this. When he got to school, he got a bedtime. Yeah. So what happened was I would sit up gaming all night. My missus would go to bed. Our toilet's upstairs. So when I wanted to pee, I would just go out into the back garden and have a pee. Right? And so to my little boy, this was normal behaviour.
Well, it was to you as well, I'd like to point out.
Yeah, well, it's dark, isn't it? It's 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning. I'm standing in my own back garden in the dark having a pee. Right? It takes a minute and a half, doesn't it, to squeeze one out?
Well, it saves going up and waking her up. I do understand that.
Yeah. I ain't got a toilet full of piss or having to flush the toilet or whatever.
Oh,
so that's what I do, right?
Still.
So the little boy starts school. Right.
Oh, okay.
You can see where this is going, can't you? So in the playtime comes one day, whistle gets blown, everybody lines up. Where's Master Packer?
Yeah.
Everybody looks around. Well, there he is. Other side of the playground, pissing up a tree. What are you doing that for? Well, that's what my dad does.
That's what my dad does. Yeah, there you go.
So I'll have to drop him off at school every day as well.
Amazing.
Yeah, so I've got to go in the next day. There's Packer's dad.
Pisses in the garden.
No, it wasn't even in the garden. It's just like that's what my dad does. He just pisses anywhere.
No, that's a good one. I suppose. I'm sure. I can't remember it, but
yeah, Mrs. Packer had to have a conversation with the teacher and explain it correctly as to actually what happened, because otherwise they were under the assumption that every time I wanted to piss, I just whacked it out and pissed.
Yeah. Well, and then the teacher says, "Well, that's all very well, Mrs. Packer, but I was on the tube the other day and your husband." Great stuff, Packer. Thank you very much for getting the ball rolling.
You're welcome.
Nice one, mate. Take care.
Good night, Scrubs.
Yeah, take care, mate. Cracking opener, absolutely cracking. Right, here we go. Have a little think, people. Look, you see, they don't have to be like these massive wandering nonsense like I come out with. Just something you've done a little bit stupid. The old, I'm sure there's plenty of childhood when your mum found your Raz mags or something and all that sort of thing. Are you off, Dennis? See you later, mate. Where you going, Den? Dirty Dennis. We call Dirty Dennis. Actually, I thought it was Denise Manice. I'll pop the link in the chat. See if anyone else has done something that they somehow regret. I'm sure Packer's stories reminded me of. I'm sure someone else at my school done that. My dad does it. That sounds familiar. But my old man does it. No, I can't think off the top of my head. He absolutely is a mega ultra scrub. Come on, come on, someone. We can do this. Who's got the kahinas to admit to their own failures? Posh telling off. Fuck off, Spummer. Who was it? Was it somewhere else in here? Here we go. Ma, the boy. Oh my god.
What's
Yourself a beard here.
What's that, mate?
You've grown yourself a beard.
Just a wee bit. I am being a bit lazy.
Looks very nice. Looks very good. Distinguished.
You think so?
I think that looks very good. Yeah, I think you look like. I think with a kilt and all bit, you're absolutely Scottish. Not
Got the teeth.
You screwed it up a little bit there. You come across now.
I get them soon, mate. I get them soon.
And what are they? Is it a plate or are they going to be those screw-in jobbies?
It'll be a plate, mate. NHS special.
I think my mum's got one of them. Is it like a big bit of plastic that sticks to the top of your mouth and it's got your teeth on it?
Aye, man.
That's proper old, that is. Well, how did you lose them?
What's that?
How did you lose your two front teeth?
Well, you lost your veins, didn't you?
All I want for Christmas is my two front teeth from my veins.
Yes.
What
it was something. See, when I was a wee boy, I remember when Joe Jordan played for Scotland, And I remember him in a lineup, you know, having the front teeth missing and stuff. And I thought, oh, a real fucking man, you know. Yeah, I've got them now, but I'd swap them for my fucking front teeth back.
Who's the other one? Nobby Styles, I think, was missed a couple of. No, but what? Ian, were you booting gear for a long time?
What, innit?
Were you chasing it?
That's all I done. That's all I ever done.
Well, maybe that would have probably been something to do with it, perhaps.
Oh yeah, I mean, it's given me. I mean, I've got all my veins, but I've also got emphysema, and my front teeth are screwed, man.
I remember when I was booting it, it got to the point where if I'd done more than just a walk, you know, even if I tried to get a little bit of a jog on, I'd feel it in my lung and it'd be agony, and I'd just have to stop. And I went to the doctors, and he said it's all the shit that you're smoking all day long. He said, yeah, you've got a build up in your lungs.
I know I'm smoking a joint at the moment, but I've got this thing.
What the fuck is that?
So it's a restrictor. So it was designed by, you know, the fighter Bas Rutten.
I do know Bas Rutten, amazing.
So yeah. Bas has had, he's been asthmatic since he was a child, and he designed this for the specific exercises that you do. One strengthens up your diaphragm, one strengthens up the muscles in the back. So both of those exercises, I've been doing them religiously in the morning. You count through them as well, so you can do 30 repetitions. So you get a little bit of meditation in there at the same time. So it's been really good for me.
We won't go down this route again. But why did you never get on the spikes?
Visually, there's no way I could have fucking hidden, you know. And you know the hierarchy. So there is a junky hierarchy about fucking ones that use this and don't use that, and ones that use the foil and use the spike and all of that sort of thing. So I hang about with some guys that were on the spike, but most of the people that I hung around with weren't really into that scene.
I remember, because I was on the foil for about 5 years, and I remember there was a bloke around my house, and he was withdrawing, not writing it, but he wasn't well. And
yeah.
I give him his gear, and he was all moaning about there was no chemists open and all this. I said, look, there's a roll of foil there. He went, nah. He said, I want to spike it. I said, but you can't get a needle till what, tomorrow morning? And he went, and I could not understand it. I thought, just fucking smoke it. But of course, but when you say hierarchy, it's more of a hierarchy, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a fucking, to everybody else it would be an inversion, but you know the world we were in.
Yeah.
It's fucking crazy.
So what have you got for us, Ian? Have you got a cringer? Have you got an embarrassment, or have you got a lie? Or did you miss the beginning of the stream and just thought it was a chat?
I think I missed the beginning of the stream. So what was the question?
Well, it's always a pleasure.
I just wanted to chat with my lovely friend Chris. It
doesn't matter at all. But if you've ever lied and got caught, or if someone else told you a lie that had an impact, like I had a girlfriend that told me she had cancer. Someone in the chat said he had a girlfriend who was pregnant who said she had cancer. I told a big lie once and got caught out, or something embarrassing that you've done, or something cringy that you've done. But you know, maybe something will come to you as we chat.
I used to date I wouldn't say she was HR, but you know, I don't know. Every engineering department has a secretary that looks after all of your sort of admin stuff. So if you were going to the States, she would be the one that would ensure that you had a map, you knew where basic stuff was, like, you know, where fucking coffee shops and where the best eateries were and all of that sort of thing. So I ended up in a relationship with her.
Okay.
So
hang on. Just so if you were being sent abroad to do a job, she'd set you up so that when you got there, you weren't just.
Every country would have one. Every country would have, you know, a secretary or a girl or someone in the department that was a focal point for all of the visiting engineers that were coming from other countries. So she would be the one that would look after people who went to North America. And I ended up in a relationship with her. So the company had rented me an apartment, a beautiful little apartment, and she would stay over regularly, you know. She was a masseuse. She would come over, give me massages. I would bang the living shit out of her. And then...
Romantic.
Yeah, of course, she was a fucking evil cow. So that'll be a story for another time. You know, like the evil one you had. Yeah, I had one of them too. Like just mind games all the time. So my trip's finishing. My visa's running out. 3 months is running out. I've got to go back to Holland, get all our goodbyes said and all that sort of stuff. So I go back home, thinking nothing of it. I get a phone call, HR department, pulling me up about a used condom that they found on the floor of the apartment when I left, and they were cleaning it up.
And that apartment is used by your whole company.
Yeah. So the girl that I was banging, the girl that I was in the relationship with, was also one of the ones that was cleaning up the apartment. So she's found a used Johnny, basically, that was used on her, that they're now trying to give me shit for not cleaning up. So it was quite an embarrassing situation for all involved, apart from me. Because I didn't give a flying fuck a rolling donut, as Carol Vonnegut would say.
I started at this rehab centre, and I found a porn mag in the front room in the resident area. And as you know, you ain't sleeping, and that's all you spend most of your time doing. And,
micro wanks.
Yeah. It's 1, 2, 3. But that's 4 seconds relief, and you'll take.
Yeah, you might get 10 seconds of sleep.
Yeah, just after that. Yeah. And so I thought, wicked, this has changed everything. But to be honest with you, this is what made it worse. It wasn't like Club International or Men Only, you know, those nice high production values mid-90s porn. It wasn't
even Razzle, it was Frazzle.
It was something I can't remember even, but they weren't professional glamour models. You know, these were just, you know, June who lived up the road in her underwear and cardigan.
Reader's hobbits.
But better than nothing. And so I've put that under my mattress, and I just thought, great. And it's my first. So I spent 3 days in the room because I couldn't go into the rehab centre because I was vomiting and all that, and they just sent me back to the house, and they had someone looking after me. But my first actual day in the rehab centre, we're in groups, so everyone's been introduced to me, and I'm in real trouble, obviously. I've been there like 4 days. But my first actual day, and at the end of the group session, Nancy, her name was, and I ended up really getting on with her, but she was a therapist. She said, Chris, can you stay behind, please? And I thought nothing of it. I thought, well, I'm new here. She might just want to say, how are you finding it? And so everyone's left the room. She went and shut the door. She come and she put a chair right in front of me, so our knees are nearly touching, which I found steady on. Magazine out, dog-eared, and I'll never forget the bird on the cover. She must have been about 40, with like one tit just sort of drooping down over her belly. And she went, is this yours? Now, if this was 5 weeks later and I wasn't rattling my balls off, I'd have said, yeah. I'd have said, yeah. But I just thought, I ain't having this. And I could feel my face, the blood going to the skin, and I could feel it. I knew I must have looked like a beetroot. And even my bottom lip was sort of going. And I went, nope. And I just stick with no. She said, it's under your bed because we've had the cleaners had to go in because of the state your room's in. And it was under your bed, and it wasn't under your bed when your room was cleaned before you arrived. So either someone else has put a pornographic magazine under your bed.
That'll be the one.
Yeah, that's what I said. I said, well,
dirty bastard.
I was like, that's all I can think. That's all I can think. I said, I wouldn't trust a junkie anywhere. There's 4 more of them in that house. She didn't buy it at all. She just went, this is unacceptable. This is unacceptable. And every time she held it up, I just thought, just get rid of it. But that night, I really missed it. It was like she stole my girlfriend's. I was absolutely gutted.
Not mine. Can I have it back, please?
It isn't mine, but now you've got it. Yeah.
I'll put that in the bin for you. I'll make sure it goes straight in the fucking bin.
There you go. Oh man, you know what? That's made me think. I can find her on social media, and I might say, Nancy, I just want to, 15 years later. It wasn't. I did find it in the house, but yeah, I was utilizing it. Yeah, you were right.
None of the splink on there was mine. Yet.
And I'll tell you what, can you imagine a porn mag in a rehab centre? There were pages absolutely glued together, and I was thinking, why is that page so, why have that, I'm missing out here.
It's always confused me how people need to get their willy that close to a photograph.
Like touching it on.
I mean, what are you getting from that?
Yeah, I've never thought of it like that, because when it's been a while, but I'm usually laying on my side, magazines up by my eyes, not my third eye, it's up here. People
if you're on an amphetamine binge, they're stuck to the walls and fucking spread out all over the floor and fucking
cut a hole in her mouth.
You need so much stimulation that you just you get pornos stuck everywhere.
I remember having 2 monitors, an arc of magazines, and my phone on it was cracking speed, just trying to get the perfect moment. 4 days later, I didn't get the perfect moment.
I found my mate like that, but on the flip side, it wasn't porn. It was CDs and records all over the fucking place. The whole living room was just, every CD was fucking put out on the floor. You were having to tiptoe through them all and stuff. And he was just on this mad fucking 3-day DJ binge.
It's weird stuff, sulfate, isn't it, man?
Oh. My brother's lost half his face due to it.
What, picking?
Fucking 20 years. Every weekend. Brain. From a Thursday to a Sunday.
That's it. The weekend just keeps getting longer, doesn't it? Because but
Yeah, but that
you
didn't
know,
give him cancer. That had nothing to do with fucking his saliva glands, his tongue, his lymph nodes exploding. No. It's nothing to do with
it's
that
not
at
that.
all.
No.
No. Just look at the junkie. Look at the junkie.
Yeah.
Don't look here. Look at him.
But it's weird because I done sulfate 2 or 3 times a week for about 5 years, but I've never, even in NA, I never called myself. I've never sort of said to people I was a speed freak, because that's sort of the lowest of the low, isn't it? It's
Yeah. I think he's
it's
got ADHD or something like that, and he's self-medicating.
no, but
He's definitely got psychosis now. His head's fucked.
Yeah.
He'll tell you stories and it's your story, but he's inserted you into, and it's quite awkward when he does that.
Do that to me. That's weird. Yeah, I had a mate who used to buy an ounce of it and just put a spoon in it and just start shoving.
That's my brother does.
Wow. I never got like that. But giving up speed for me, the hardest thing was all the sexual stuff, because if you've got a bird and she's game and you've got like half ounce of sulfate, that's a cracking weekend. I'm sorry, people, but it is.
You like me, I can't understand how anybody who's an ex-addict could go anywhere near that stuff. Any upper at all. I don't understand how you could go there. Go to that place.
After I got into the gear, I'm not interested at all. But did you not do crack when you were using heroin?
A little bit, but nah. I found out very, very quickly that you're always chasing that first ever pipe that you had that made your ears ring and fucking gave you that near-death experience.
Yeah.
It never happens again.
Well, if you start smoke, that first one of the day will do that, but you'll do 400 quid trying to find it. You need a
exactly.
Yeah. It got to the
I've
point
seen
with me and Gail where because we hadn't slept in that for so long, a 10 stone of crack would actually sedate me because it was just killing me. My body couldn't handle it. It wasn't. But that fucking earring in it's too much. And
the music's almost digital as it's coming out the speakers. You're like, oh, holy fuck, man.
Oh, no,
but then 20 seconds later,
yeah,
the young guy around the corner from me, 30 grand in a month.
A good old 30 grand. There you go. Lovely. No, easy. Well, I was
30 fucking grand in a month.
Me and Gail were doing £1,000. We were doing an ounce a day, and I was buying it on the half kilo of coke, so that's about £1,000 a day.
At the end of it, they're all crawling about on the floor, fucking dicing up.
Yeah, that is.
They must have dropped a bit somewhere. Must be a bit dropped somewhere.
Someone on the Crack Diary, someone said in Liverpool they call it chicken picking. Where I come from, it's called the looking. And when it's all run out, everyone's on their hands and knees, and they're putting pipes together. It's a little bit of biscuit, a bit of paint, a bit of cheese,
some cat litter.
Yeah, but the thing is, no one drops any crack. No one.
Never been fucking known in man. If you drop it, it hits you in the back of the head.
You just nah.
Madness. Right. Fucking madness.
Nice to talk to you, Ian. You're looking.
Is that a bit? Is that a bit?
No, it never is.
Mate, always a pleasure. I'll let someone else come on.
Yeah. Take care, Ian. Good to see you. Keep
you
the beard up. It's a good look. Ta-ra, mate.
Cheers, man.
I do like talking to Ian. I did say at the beginning when I started talking to him, I said we won't go down this road, but it's, he knows that, and I'll tell you all this. And this isn't. I mean, there's even people in the chat who I can see know it. if you're smoking crack for any prolonged period, a couple of hours, once it's all gone, not everyone, but most people are on their hands and knees doing the whole room, and they'll have one hand here and the other hand anything beige, white, yellow, and you see him put it on his pipe. If you put crack on a pipe, you need to put ash on the pipe because it just melts, right? And it melts into the ash, and that's how you smoke. Oh, it makes me feel fucking weird talking about it, to be honest with you. I'm so ambivalent. I hate that stuff, but it works. But they'll put this little selection of no crack on the pipe. They'll get their lighter, and as they're even sucking it, you're like, no, that bit's called light, mate. That's wood. and that bit of cheese there's no crack on there. And when they breathe it out, you can see they're nearly puking because Lord knows what that must have tasted like. Oh God. Right, moving on. Hello, Barney. Good to see you. Yeah, no, it's there's not a lot to learn down that road. I tell you what, and I think most people agree with this. Crack done more damage to my life, my physical and mental health in a year than Skag did in 20. And I mean that. I absolutely mean that. The myth around heroin is, oh, you'll take it, and the next thing you know, it took me a couple of years to get a smack at it. It actually took me a couple of years. But I started, as soon as someone showed me how to make crack, we'd all go out, everyone was doing coke, and they'd go, oh, yeah, I've left you a couple of lines in the toilet. I'd go in the toilet, scrape them into a Rizzler in my pocket all night, and everyone had coke, and by the end of the night I'd go home, get about 30 Rizzler bombs out of my pocket, wash it all up, and then of course someone said, you don't need to do that, you can just inject cocaine, which is what cocaine's made for. It's made for injection because it's water soluble. That's fucking lethal. Don't do that. Don't do that. Don't. Anyway, let's move on from narcotic. Yeah, here's the weird thing though. I was talking to someone the other night about having kids and that, and I've got mates who smoke crack. Like they'll have a couple of hours on it, and they won't touch it again for like 4 or 5 months. And then one night they'll get in a couple of grams of coke and wash it up and smoke a few rocks, and they won't. I had a mate come to my house when I was right in it, and he'd give me like 500 quid. He went, go on, go and get some goodies in. He wasn't an addict or anything. I went out and bought, I don't know, an eighth of smack and the rest of the money on crack. Got home, he had a pipe, he's booted some gear, puked a couple of times, had a couple more pipes, and then I'm just fucking one pipe after the next. And I've put a pipe together. I went, here. He went, no. He went, you're all right. He went, I'm done. I was like, what? He went, no. He went, you can have that. It was like a fair amount left. He went, I've had enough. I was like, okay. I couldn't work that out. Could not work that out. We're very similar as humans, but we're also very, very different. There's very few old crackheads. If you haven't got a lot of money, and you're doing a 20 stone a day, you can get on with it. But the worst thing that can happen to a crackhead is what happened to me. I was getting half a kilo of Peruvian flake. Half a kilo, it's 18 ounces. Oh no, I'll sell that. Yeah, I was getting it baled as well. Yeah, thank you. I'll sell that. I'll make a good few thousand. Next day, fuck, I'm $5,000 down already. Right, let's get this in. Think about it, people. A lie, an embarrassment, or a cringe. It can be to you, from you. It can be something you witnessed. It doesn't have to be you. You might have witnessed someone else do something mega cringe. There's a link. It's in the chat. What's going on here? Oh no, you're absolutely right, John. You know, it's a pharmaceutical product. That's why in England there's about, I think now there's about 500 people who have prescribed it. It doesn't really do you any damage, and intravenous is safer. You know, you shouldn't really put anything combustible in your lungs. But then you're smoking the fumes. I'm not going there. Come on, someone who hasn't been on, come in. Let's meet someone. Hello, Mrs. Me in it. Now, if you can sort out, listen, if you can sort out your audio, why don't you come on and tell me that story that I've got the paperwork for? Let me see if I can dig those out. I've got them here somewhere. Mrs. Me in it. How is your what have I got to do? How's your audio? Can you handle it, or don't you fancy coming on now? I'll use this time to download them though. Anyone want to come on? Come on, people. Have some balls. Good to talk to Ian, though. Good to talk to Picard. Hang on, people. I'm just downloading some things of Mrs. Me in it, because she's got an hell of a story here. 132. 132. If you're not up for it, I'm trying not to say your name because I've got it here, obviously. I've got your scans ready. But you do have some technical difficulties. All right, I'll tell you what, I'll open it up, even if you haven't got any of the things we previously spoke about. You can just come on and have a chat. I mean, I've been trying to get Denise on for ages. I'm trying to get his missus on. She's got a cracking story, an absolute cracker. Joshua says, I watched your car chase. Oh yeah, with Jamie. It was a fucking nightmare. He was a proper pest. Have you heard the other? There's another story. I think I told it here the other day. Oh no, there's another story about the same bloke. It's called The Longest Day on Junk. It's another video. It's the same bloke, part 2. The Longest Day on Junk. If you enjoyed the car chase story and you want to see what other awful things that bloke did. Hello, inner city pigeon, new in these parts. BC, CV, XV. I don't know me Roman numerals. Look at this, look. Look, everyone's trying to get everyone else to get on. John Palmer, Moose Cat, get on. And then Willow's going, John Palmer, you go on. Hello, Rob. Hello, Lee. Hello, Casa calling. That car chase vid is absolutely fantastic. I watched and listened to it countless times. It was quite exciting, I have to say. It was an exciting time because I just remember thinking I can get away with this. If we do get nicked, I'll just say, no, I'll just hitchhike. I didn't nick a car. But once I threw that industrial metal pot and put the old Bill wagon window through, I thought, well, now you're fucked. Thanks a lot. That's them. Hang on, I'll do that. Well, it looks like no one's coming on. Well, I'm sort of in the mood to chat to people. It's like it's 2:30. I've nearly done 2 hours. We've only got 20 minutes left, so I'll just have a little chat. I'll have a little chat about that then. I'll put the link in the chat though, so it's still open if anyone wants to come on. But have you noticed our old Elaine Bredhofter, who was Amber Turd's attorney? She's been turning up everywhere. She's been going on all sorts of TV shows, making her excuses. And has anyone seen any of Johnny Depp's legal team on any TV show? They're not doing it. I saw Johnny Depp was playing with Jeff Beck. He wasn't great, to be honest with you, Johnny, but nice of Jeff Beck to have him on. And then I saw him doing a thing about a film he's in. He'd done a press conference about a film he was doing, and the bloke said, "We're not taking questions about the trial," and he was talking about acting, and it was amazing. It was, and that's the. I think there's something really significant, and it kind of tells you that it's a real story of two halves, so to speak. There, and that Elaine, I mean, I made a video about it, a standalone, not a live, and she said it was a real loss for women. No, it wasn't. I'm going to go and get a frozen toffee. I'll get my crema on because I've only got my grandad pants on. Well, I will take this time to not really, Dennis. Mega Essex boys on the firm. Hello, mate.
Hello, mate. How you doing?
Yeah, what time is it out in Old Zealand? That's a great joke.
Just got 7:30 in the morning.
Why are you awake?
I've got COVID, but I've got to go to work.
You're cooped up, are you?
I'm cooped up, mate. Yeah, I've been in bed all day. Well, I went to do a job yesterday morning and ended up on the side of the road with a nice fast shart, shall we call it? And then puking out my car window and feeling pretty ropey, big heavy sweats. Got home, jumped in the bed, back aching like buggery, sweated all night, still sweating now. But because it's been pissing down with rain here the last week, my work's falling behind. And because I'm going back to the UK at the end of June and I'm fully booked, unless I get onto it of a weekend or night times, then the people ain't going to get their heat pumps and they're not going to be warm for winter. So fortunately, where I've got to work today, it's just a big undercover warehouse and no other bastard will be there. So I can spread my coof about quite happily.
That sounds like an absolute nightmare. You're feeling like shit and you're having to work.
Yeah. And because the missus didn't want it, she went round to her mother and father's last night and took the kid as well. So it's just me.
She took them away so that they didn't get.
Well, yeah, they've already been rough this week. So she didn't want a second round of it. I don't know if it's even possible, but she didn't like the idea of it. So.
No, Devon Tracy had it twice, but I don't know if he was tested, but he had like some proper mad epiphany. He was on death's door.
I don't know whether I put much weight into those tests anyway. Like the mother and father-in-law. They did a test last week and they've been coughed off all week and they had exactly the same symptoms as I've got now and they both tested positive. I did the test yesterday and it came up negative. But I can assure you that I'm not right. And
Yeah,
it's
no.
exactly the same symptoms as everybody else has had, testing positive. So you kind of got to put two and two together, haven't you?
It's a bit weird when the people who are selling the tests are also selling the cure. I'll call it loosely.
Yeah,
You know.
yeah, absolutely. How you been?
Well, I was just thinking. I've been good actually. I've been really good. I'm buying a weights bench tomorrow in the flat. I'm going to get back to doing some lifting because I haven't done any for years, and watching my missus going to the gym, her body's getting better and mine's getting worse. And with the age difference,
Yeah.
I'm
It's going to be some mismatch in a few years, isn't it?
I'm going to squeeze a few more years out of it, at least 2. But I'm just trying to come to terms with that kind of mental strength because, you know, if I've got a cold, I'm not just a cold. I haven't had a cold ever. I haven't had a cold since I was about 25. But if I'm a little bit ill, I can't do anything. I just can't do anything.
Well, it was like yesterday. Yeah, I'm a bit like you. I don't really get sick. I don't. Like, I'm too busy to get fucking sick. You might have a little cough and you crack on and all that. But yesterday was next level. It really did wipe me out. I did have a bit of a big night on the piss on Friday, but it's not that because I drink a lot and I don't really get hangovers. So
well, that is a sign of drinking a lot, isn't it? Oh, that was my next question. Are you drinking through it?
what, booze wise?
Yeah.
No. So on the drive home yesterday, I cracked open a can of strong lager because at the time I thought it might have just been a hangover, and I got about halfway through the strong lager, and I was like, no, and it's actually sitting next to my bed upstairs as we're talking.
Oh, you didn't throw it away though. So it's because. So hang on. When you say you're going back to the UK, what visit or you're off?
Yeah, visiting. So finally, old horseface Jacinda has changed the rules on because I'm not a citizen here. I'm a permanent resident. Yeah, if I was a citizen, regardless if I was vaccinated or not, right from the start, I could have still travelled, got back into New Zealand. But for a long time, because I was only a resident, I couldn't. And then about 4 or 5 weeks ago, she's changed the rules so that even if you're a permanent resident, I can go back to the UK and fly back into New Zealand without having the old jib jab. I've just got to have a witnessed rap test in the UK 2 weeks before I come back.
Okay. I had a couple of mates who were coming out here, but the thing that put them off was they had papers. They weren't legit, but they had them. But it turned out even if you had the paperwork, the whole aeroplane had to have the test at Bangkok.
Yep.
And if one person on that plane has a positive, what's a DC-10? It's got to be about 200, 300 people, isn't it? If one person tests positive, you've all got to do 2 weeks in a government 5-star super expensive hotel, and they just didn't risk it.
I was gonna come and surprise you, Danger. I looked in flights on the way over because it actually worked out cheaper, the multi-stop, than just fucking getting back home, unbelievably, but still require jab as entry.
What,
you still got from what I read, you need to be jabbed up to actually get in. I might be wrong, but when I looked into it, that was what I was reading. Because remember the other week you did that stream where you walked about and you kind of doxed yourself a little bit. Well, because I
deleted the stream because of that,
and because I'd that previous day been looking at getting out of Cambodia, I was doing my private investigator thing, and I said a street number. In the chat, and I think that's what freaked you out because I think I might have been a little bit close to home.
I'll tell you what happened. Someone else messaged me and said, "I've got you on Google Maps. You might wanna get rid of that video because they I mean, if a real nutter wanted to fire me, it wouldn't be too hard, but." It was a bit of a stupid thing to do.
That's why I was coming over.
Imagine that. Imagine you knocking on my door. Who the fuck's
Well,
that?
if I was going to pull it off, I'd have been on my mobile, made sure you were streaming, and then I'd have been bang, 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 bang.
That would have been amazing. That would have been amazing. Me going over there, opening the door.
It's vigorous for you.
So, are you now having a medicinal smoking moment?
Wake and bake.
And is it work? How's that working out with the coof?
Actually, last night it worked out an absolute treat. It was about the only thing that calmed down my sweats for about an hour. I had a big bifter just before bed, and a cup of tea, and I thought, oh, maybe I'm feeling a bit better. But yeah, I don't know.
Doesn't surprise me. I think there's a hot. I think over the next 20 or 30 years, now it's all been a little bit more relaxed about weed. I think there's going to be a load of really, beneficial sort of effects of it. Because even when I was younger, I tell you what, I had a migraine when I lived upstairs, and it was so bad and going on so long. I thought I'd do anything, and I thought I've got a bit of weed over there. And I put a little OneSkin together, and it done it. It got shot of it. It did.
Yeah.
I mean, most of the times when I got a migraine, I can't even stand up to get that together. But it was like day 3, and I thought, fuck it, anything, just try something. And it did. But then I'd done it again. I tried it again a few months later, but it was a different bit of weed. I think I might have just got lucky with a particular, breed, particular, what do you call it?
Strain.
Yeah, that's the word I'm looking for, a particular strain. But yeah.
Amazing, this strain I've got at the moment. Tastes like Turkish Delight.
What, full of Eastern promise?
Yeah. Really quite special, eh? The Bondre barman from down there, my local pub last night, gave it to me. We had a lock-in, sat on the sofa and had a blaze. On Friday night, yeah, he's quite good. I was doing the YMCA in the hot tub. Yeah, embarrassing story. I was doing the YMCA in the hot tub in a gay man in white pants about a month ago, in front of all my friends and my mother-in-law.
Oh, it was going all right until the mother-in-law. But hang on, look at the strength of you, though. Look, you're a drinker. You've got the coof. You're up at 7 after what sounds like a rotten day. You're having a biff, and then you're going to go and do a day's work.
Yeah.
Fucking madness. I don't know where you get the strength from. How old are you?
Me? I'm 44.
Youngster. Young man, aren't you, see?
And on top of that, I ain't just going to work. It's my business. I'm running my business. And on top of that, I'm building a house as well. So,
amazing. No, good work.
I think I am going a bit too much, though. I've been losing sleep at night, waking up at 1 o'clock in the morning, stressing about the build, something chronic. Can't get back to sleep till like 5 in the morning.
That's horrible when you can't sleep.
The budget's blowing out as well, like enormously. My contingency for my build is already gone, and I'm not even out of the ground yet.
What causes that? What causes a home build to go over budget?
Pretty much this time round, I would say it's the coof. Because of the downturn of transport. Yeah, there's not enough drivers, which means all the time frames have gone out. Then everybody uses the time frames going out as an excuse to put more money onto the job because materials are getting more expensive. I also live in an area where, because I moved town about a year ago.
Right.
And the town that I live in now is one of the smallest / poorest in New Zealand, I'd say. And as a result, it hasn't got huge amounts of tradesmen and labour and all the shops and all the stuff that you actually need to build a house. So anything that I have to get has to be freighted in, or it's like a 4-hour drive to Christchurch, you know. And because, sorry, what I was getting at, and because it's a new town, we had a flood last year, so all the builders and everything are doing their mates' houses, you know, people that have lived there, their community. And I wouldn't expect anything less, that they be a priority. But that means I'm right down on the fucking bottom of the pegging order. So me even trying to get anybody to do anything is nigh on impossible. And then they have to come in from out of town. And because we're so far away from anything, then you're having to put them up in accommodation. So you can imagine,
right.
You know?
Yeah, because I've got all this coming. I've got, you know, we looked at some land the other day and it was absolutely beautiful. But I was just thinking, how are we going to get anything there? You know, there's not any roads to get there.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, you got to think about these things. I know it's a nice idea. I know it's a really nice idea to want to build your own thing. Yeah. But think very, very carefully, because it can take a long time. It can be very, very expensive. And where are you going to stay in the meantime? When you're building this house, Danger, where are you going to be living? I'm fortunate. We've got a barn, and we've got a little apartment in the barn, which is where I am now. And then that is the building platform.
Well, luckily, Jesus Christ, that's a job. Well, luckily out here, I can put up like I'll get a yurt or something. You know, because of the weather, it's no dramas at all. And the girlfriend has got a house that we can live in if we go up there. But I'm even thinking of getting a crew over from England. You know, because it's a bit weird out here. It's a bit weird. You know, they take one look at you, and you know, like when you see a Saudi prince in England, you think they've got money. Well, they take one look at you and they think you're loaded.
It's like a cartoon with dollar signs in the eyes, isn't it? Going.
Yeah, exactly. So I could probably get a nice crew together of mates in England. But this is all 2-3 years in the future because of the stock market. I've got all my money's in there, and that needs to wait. So, well,
you got to hope for a quick recovery.
I think there will be. I think it's going to get worse for another year. But
I think we've seen nothing yet. I think we've seen nothing yet. They're going to be collapsing all the currencies into CBDCs and fucking. Yeah, we're in for a long, rough ride, and I think anybody that's not those top 5% blue chip companies, the likes of your BlackRock and your Vanguard, that are already changing their investment strategies to take on residential housing, Gates buying the farmland and all of that. I don't think we've seen the end of this at all, mate. I think Agenda 2030 is the goal, and I think by 2030 this world will be a very, very different place. So I ain't keeping no money in the bank. I'm trying to spend every single bit of my money right now.
Yeah, I haven't. Well, I've got a little, you know, I've got living expenses, but no, yeah, I'm the same as that. But you talk about freight and that. My business, that you know, the money to ship stuff. We've had to start moving stuff by boat now, because air you know, it's quadrupled in the last year.
Yeah, it's just cost me $4,500 for my return flights to the UK.
What? How many people?
Me?
Hang on. What? New Zealand dollars or American?
Yeah, New Zealand dollars, but that's
What's
still
that
right.
English?
About $2,500, $2,000.
English.
Yeah, about $2,000 English.
To get one person to England and back.
My missus has turned around and said, "Oh, why aren't I coming back?" And the boy, it's because, well, do the math. By the time you've done that, like, I'm staying at my mum's. My mum will feed me for nothing. If I've got you and the boy, I'll feel obliged to give her some dough, or we'll be out eating all the time. Then I've got 3 people to entertain every time we go down the boozer, plus the flights. I said, if I take you and the boy home, that's going to be, what, 30K?
£10,000. There you go. Yeah, my missus keeps saying when we're going to England, and I did have a look at the flights, and one of them came up that looked quite reasonable, yeah, right? And I thought, well, hang on, this one looks right. And then it was Cambodia, Taiwan, Tel Aviv, and it took 37 hours.
Right. So the flight I've got, 32 hours, right? That's pretty standard. You can get it down to about 28, 29 if you're really lucky. That was those kind of prices. And then I got excited. I saw a flight, 2,600. I was, oh, wicked. 63 hours. I'll pay you extra.
I have got an Amex that gets me into those nice places in the airport, but you know what? Even when you're in those, okay, you can get as nice food. You're still paying money because you know what are you going to do for 5 hours in an airport? Just fucking hell, and then 10 hours in the next airport. That drive you crackers, wouldn't it?
That drives you mad. And then normally I'm like smashing back some amitriptyline or something because of the length of the fucking flights. So then I'm on the seat in the airport lounge, fucking half gouged. This is last call for cigarette boy.
No, I won't travel without Xanax, but I'm waiting until I'm walking down the tunnel to the plane. Otherwise, if I drop that Xanny anywhere else in the airport, I won't be getting on that aeroplane.
It's the transfers that are the problem, you know.
Well, I got carried on a stretcher with nurses from the Heathrow plane that landed in Tel Aviv through security and all that. I woke up while I was on that, like seeing the ceiling going past. I carried on. I knew what was going on, and I thought, well, don't wake up. You're having it off here. So I just sort of stayed, and they put me on they took me all the way to the other plane. I didn't have to go through any security. They put my bags through and that. Yeah. It was like when your dad picks you up in the back of the car when you get home as a kid. That was brilliant. But that's a good point, actually, the old transfers. But when I used to fly England to Thailand, the best one was like 12 hours. Heathrow, Bangkok, and I'd have mates come over and they'd go, "Oh, we found one." You said it was because back in the day it was like 700 quid England Bangkok return, and he said, "Oh, we found one. It's only 500." And I said, "Are you sure?" He said, "Yeah." He said, "It takes a bit longer." I said, "Mate," I said, when you're sitting around in fucking Tel Aviv for 6 hours, you'd think, what, for 200 quid? I said, "Pay the money, mate. You'll go out of your mind there." But when it's that difference in price, nah.
They stitch you up now as well, right? I'm 6'3". You're a big fella, aren't you? Right. So in the old days, you'd turn up and you'd lay on a bit of charm at the front desk, you know, at the front passport desk with the airport lady, and you'd make sure you had your nice watch on and you looked sort of well served. Any chance of an extra legroom seat or maybe a little upgrade? And sometimes you get it. Now, oh no, it's all book your seat online, on the plane. The plane comes up, all the legroom seats, extra money. All the bulkhead seats, extra money. You can't just request an extra legroom seat to your tall. So a little 5'2" geezer can pay the extra, and I'll be behind him with my fucking knees up, ready. And he's like, "That's fair, isn't it? That's fair." It's like what I always say about fucking clothes as well. Yeah, if your missus has got a case of clothes and it's all that little spandex fucking, and they're all about this big, she could take about a year's worth of clothes with her, right? Have you seen the size and weight of my clothes? I could take like 2 jumpers and 2 pairs of jeans, and that's me a lot, you know. Very unfair.
I remember the result used to be the emergency door seats. I used to get that one quite a lot.
But you don't want to be actually in that row up against the window side, because you've got the bulkhead of the emergency door, and what you actually get is one leg's leg room, because you've got the fucking bulkhead that comes out off of that emergency door that's got the fucking raft and everything in it. So you've got to be very careful about that one as well. And also, you don't want to get the one by the fucking proper bulkhead behind the trolley dollies, yeah, because that's where all the mothers sit with their babies.
Yeah, yeah,
So
yeah.
if you end up on that seat, you're going to have 12 hours of screaming.
I can get if they've got first class seats that aren't being used, that Amex will get you a free upgrade. But
That's right.
no, it's an absolute touch. But if there's people in them, obviously they can't, and they won't upgrade you to business for free either. But
I had an upgrade to business 12 years ago, I suppose. It's the one.
You get a bed, didn't you?
Yeah. It's the one and only time I ever have, and that was back in the day where you could ask. What was a good touch? Flying into Perth, Australia, I was sitting next to this old English fella called Grumpy, and he was an aircraft engineer, and he knew the pilot, and he was a right character. And we sat there on the piss. He goes, "I'll have a word with the pilot. I'll get you in the jump seat." Obviously, these days you can't even get in the cockpit. So coming into Perth International Airport, I'm sat behind the pilots in the little fucking jump seat coming down with it was like the Krypton factor, you know, when you come down and you look the runway like, I'm well excited. It was amazing. Yeah, that was cool.
Isn't that funny? I can remember when we were kids and we went to Spain. I got Spanish family, and on the flight back, one of the hostesses said, "Oh, do you want to come and have a look in the cabin?" To me and my brother, because we were kids, and we were like, "Yeah." They just let us in there, looking at it all. Now there's like 4 security doors now, isn't it? There's no getting in that.
Yeah.
How much did you say that your ticket was? Because this is quite concerning.
It was I think it was about $4,300. So yeah, about 2,000 English, I reckon. Maybe a bit more.
You should have a look at that Amex card, because you've got a business. You'll be surprised that I managed to angle one, and like I say, I've got the points to get me to England and back already.
Have you?
But not 2 of us. So
what sort of turnover are you going to need to pull that?
Well, not a lot, because it's not right. So there's a business Amex and there's a personal one, and I am nowhere near the personal sort of spend. But because the business, the turnover's there, that's all they're worried about. It's not profit, because as you know, turnover's here.
You pay the bill,
Yeah, exactly. But what you can do, this is why, because I found this off of YouTube. You get the business one, but you can pay it off from whatever bank account you want. So you build up your points with business spends, but then if you book a flight using it, you can pay it off at your personal account. So you're not booking flights out of business money. So you can actually use it as a personal card as long as you're not paying it off from the business. But the perks are fucking great, really.
Yeah.
Email me and I'll send you the links.
I thought they knocked you back on it because there was all that talk with your credit rating and stuff.
Yeah, I thought they had. I was streaming live and I got an email from them saying you ain't having it. But I rung them up very quickly and they were like, nah, no, they didn't knock me back. I've got it here somewhere. It's quite flash actually. I'll show you.
You got your avatar on the front of it.
I'll have to dub out the number. Look at the fucking world we live in. What are all them for, man?
Jesus.
Oh, look, here, look.
This is around with a limp with that wallet in your pocket.
Look at that, look.
Oh, yeah.
That gets you to the front of the queue. So when you're queuing up, you go, nah.
You're that fella.
Yeah, that arsehole, yeah. But that gets you to the front of the queue. It gets you, when you're in I can't remember what it's called. It's been so long since I've got a flight. What's the bit, the bit before you get on the plane?
Departure lounge.
Yeah, it gets you in first there. So they say any priority passes, you're like, yeah, and they pick up your bags for you and all that. But no,
nice.
There you go.
I'll look in. Oh, yeah. Oh, look at that. Right. Silver.
Yeah. But
I used
platinum, please. But it's metal. It's metal. Yeah. It's actually metal.
I used to work for at the time it was called Fleming Premier Banking. Started by the Fleming family, famous for 007 novels and all of that. They're
Okay.
proper
Oh,
high end bank, kind of like Coates, that kind of stuff. And as a result, I could get an account. So I've got it's changed names now. What's it called? It went to Chase Manhattan, and now it's called something else. But yeah, I've got a very, very flash looking bank card from a very, very expensive bank if I have to use it. It's my secret. My secret.
That is really. That's a blag, really. That, I mean, you know, it's not because it's a business thing. But you can work it. I had a mate in Soho. He had a Coutts bank account, and he's took me down to the Coutts on Charing Cross Road. No, the Strand. We've gone in this bank. I've never seen anything like it. Fucking huge place. Chesterfield sofas everywhere. We've sat down. Woman's come over. Silver tray, tea, coffee. I was thinking, this ain't fucking Lloyd's, is it? He went afterwards. I said to him, how the fuck did you get this bank account here? He went, look, I'll show you. A cheeky cunt, actually, put his card in the machine, and it said he pressed show balance, and he had over 8 million English in his bank.
I need mates like that.
I'll tell you how he made it, right? It was you can't do it anymore. Totally illegal. It was called carousel selling or something like carousel loophole or something. You can probably find it on Google, and it's essentially a VAT blag. So what you do, you set up like 15 or so companies. And so say me and you are company 1 and 2, and then there's 3, 4, 5, 5, 5. So I sell you 20,000 mobile phones, and I say to you, okay, there's 20,000, they're £1,000 a piece plus VAT. So you pay me that plus the VAT, and you go all the way round doing that. Now there's no actual telephones, but everyone's claiming back VAT because it's a fucking runaround for the government and for the HR. I mean, these days probably couldn't do it, but that's what he told me. And that's how they done it. And you know, this bloke's got like houses all over the world. He made millions out of it.
I always wished I was grown up in the 60s, you know, when it was just the fingerprints and there was no CCTV. You could have been blagging fucking banks and safes and all sorts of shit, couldn't you?
Have you seen Catch Me If You Can?
Yeah, I have. Yeah. Leonardo DiCaprio. Good, eh?
Fantastic movie. That geezer who that's based on, he now does like after dinner talking and that, and very, very interesting bloke. But when I watched that, I felt a bit like that. I thought, oh, why couldn't I have been around in those days? Where all he done was put on a pilot's uniform and just walk through.
That being said, though, about our times, we do live in pretty affluent times, don't we? You know, like,
I tell you, when I went to the Ukraine once, oh shit, the YouTube headquarters was just lit up. When I went out there once, I said to this bloke who was a professor in this university, we were lecturing there, and I said to him, so obvious question, do you prefer life here now or when you were Soviet, you know, when it was communism? And he said, we're free now, but we're free to do nothing because there isn't anything. You know, you're free. He was free, but they didn't have anything. He said, when in communism, we had stuff. So it's like
in regards to what? What did he have?
Well, I mean, it was like a third world country when I went, and this is only 15 years ago. Ukraine was like a third world country, and I went to Kiev. You know, people weren't eating a lot. You go for a restaurant, and it's borscht, which is beetroot soup. Ain't great. I think he just sort of meant that, you you're not under the finger of the KGB and all the other lot, but you can't really do much because the country was fucked.
Oh, because it had been fucked for so long under communism, even though you had what you'd now perceive as freedom, the infrastructure of a capitalist democratic society wasn't really in place.
Yeah, they were still stuck 40, 50 years behind, and so we do live in affluent times, but we've lost our freedom of speech.
Yeah.
And, there's different sorts of affluence, isn't there?
Well, there is absolutely some.
We've lost our communities. We've lost our ability to speak. I haven't been to England for nearly 5 years, and everyone keeps saying to me, "You're going to have the shock of your life when you come over."
Yeah. I went back 4 years ago, and I'd seen a massive. If you'd been there 5 years ago, you'd have seen it was very much a change on the go then. But yeah, I think I'm gonna be shocked when I go home. What is quite nice. Well, this is going to sound really, really bad as being a hypocrite that I am. But I'll go back there, and by the end of the 4 or 5 weeks, I'll be like, I want to get out of here. I want to get back over to New Zealand, because this ain't the place that I loved.
I was talking to. I get 2 or 3 people a week write to me and they say, "Don't tell anyone this, but how much is it to live out there, or Thailand or Vietnam?" And it's always, "Don't tell anyone." And I was talking to someone who's quite high up on the sort of nationalist sort of leaderboard, so to speak. And he was out in Southeast Asia, and he said he had to keep it a secret. And there's sort of something wrong with that, because, are you just going to sort of dig your feet in and say, "I ain't leaving, I'll never leave"? Well, okay, but you only get one life.
Well, I'm kind of from the Romford area, right? Right, the life that my kid's got here now. Yeah, he's sitting on 5 acres. He's got a little mini electric motorbike that he's fucking scooting about. It's all beaches and fucking hills and all that. Can you imagine bringing up my little 5-year-old in Romford? It would just be like rolling the dice. Is he going to be a patois speaking fucking gangbanger? Is he going to serve up coke? Is he just going to is he going to be grafting all of his life to barely even be able to put a roof over his head? So if I'm going to have a kid, I want to give him more than that.
That was my thing in England. Every time I thought about having a kid, I thought, what can I afford in England? What little bedsit somewhere? And I've got friends who've got that. Him, a kid, bedroom, bathroom. That's it. And no savings, no investments.
Yeah. Well, what I bought my first house for in Auckland in New Zealand. So just deposit wise, for the equivalent deposit at the time of what I put down, I managed to get a 3-bedroom house on a nice bit of land with a garage. And just before I left the UK, I was looking at buying a 1-bedroom ex-state maisonette in Aveley for the same money.
Yeah,
it's like, nah. And then I'm going to work all my life to pay for that. My little, which is basically a bedsit in Aveley. Yeah, thanks very much. Yeah.
I'm going to let you go, but before I let you go though, are you still thinking about knocking the sauce on the head at some point?
Absolutely. Yeah. Every day I do.
Because everything else is going well, man.
Yeah.
Got a good life out there.
My alcoholism's not. I get pissed every night, but I get up every morning and I go to work. So and do my thing, and I look after my family, and we're moving forwards, not backwards. My liver might argue otherwise, but I do regularly go to the doctors and get all my bloods done, and they say, "No, your liver's working fine, your kidneys working fine."
Well, but one day you might say it ain't, and the liver doesn't repair.
They'll probably stop, innit? because the liver can regenerate. Yeah. So as long as I keep regularly testing, the moment it shows that a little bit of damage has been done, I go, all right, then knock that on the head, and my liver regenerates, and we're all good. I worry more about the smoking.
Yeah.
And not the
Yeah.
weed. Like 20, like six spliffs a day, but then that's 14 cigarettes a day as well. So 20 a day. That's for 25 years so far. That's a lot of smoke you're putting in your lungs.
You're at that age now where it's time to think about those things stopping, really. That's 45. Anyway, let's not go there. Listen, mate,
No,
don't work too hard today and get yourself in trouble. When are you off to England? When is it?
End of June. So if any scrubs are in the Essex, London area and fancy having a couple of jars or something, being it's summer, find a nice beer garden, Sunday lunch, I'd be keen.
There are a few that meet up and go out into Soho. So any of you want to do that, email me and I can put you together via my email. No problem. Look after yourself. Lovely to talk to you, man.
Nice one, sunshine.
Look after yourself. Lovely lad. Amazing. You know, that it is a strange situation because, you know, I know, I mean, this sounds ridiculous, but I know that I don't live in England. I know that, obviously. And it doesn't 100% sit well with me because of the things that I think about. But there were other reasons I had to get out, you know, things that we won't go into at the moment, if ever, in public. But it got to the point where I was paying £2,500 a month rent, and I was like, I've got to stop paying this because, you know, I'm not getting any younger. I need to start saving some money up here. And then it was like, well, where are you going to live? Now, Soho was an absolute blast. I loved it. I loved living in Soho. You know, of all the great things about living in Soho, the best thing is that people always go there. So almost every day I'd get an email or a text or a phone call. Hello, mate, we're coming into town later. You want to meet up? And that's great, you know. Even if they were going out on the piss, they'd come up a few hours earlier because, you know, I don't want to go out drinking on a Tuesday night. But they'd come up a few hours earlier. We'd go out for dinner, and, you know, the next day someone else, because people go to Soho, you know. But I just thought, where can I live? And when I first went to Thailand, just the heat, you know, as Ian Marr was saying, I've done all my veins in. I've got very, very bad circulation in my hands and feet. When I sleep with my feet up on 3 pillows. My missus, she must think I'm nuts. I wear an eye mask, you know, to keep the light out because I go to bed late, so I don't want the sunlight in my eyes in the morning. But my feet are up on these. But in England, as soon as it starts getting to autumn, my hands and my feet are agony. And when I first ever went to a hot country, that's all stopped. And when it's something like that, everyday regular pain, you're like, you know, like what's his name? Chris, I can't remember his surname. The soldier, I can't think of his surname. Chris Thrall. You know, you only get one life, but one's enough if you do it right. And one of the best things I ever did was moving out here. I have to say that, and I know that doesn't resound well with a lot of people. You know, it's a bit like, you fucked off. It's all right for you fucked off. But, you know, a lot of that was financial. A lot of it was health reasons. But, you know, what a lovely lad, Mega Essex boy. Amazing talking to him. But he was right. You know, look at his kid. He's got a kid. He's got a young boy. And what's he going to do? I don't know if you know Romford. It ain't a barrel of laughs. I mean, I don't know if Pizzazz is still there. Shocking nightclub at the Totty were amazing. But you know what could his kid do with an evening in Romford? Sit around sniffing glue, smoking weed, fighting, stabbing people, or as he said, burning around, going to the beach, and you know he's given him a cracking life. Do you know it, John? Do you remember it? Old Pizzazz. I tell you what, as a 15-year-old boy going in there, and there being birds with hair that was that big, white stilettos, little glow in the dark miniskirt. Fucking hell, I took a couple of those home and all. Couldn't get shot of them quick enough in the morning though. There you go. Look, John, I have to do the same with the pillows. I'm supposed to wear compression stockings, but I haven't got that far because the elevated sleeping does the trick. But if I don't do that, my ankles swell up because I jabbed all my veins in my legs. John lived on the same road. John, do you remember there used to be like a motor parked out the front, like a roller or something? I can't remember what it was. Like it might have been a Bentley or a Ferrari. I can't remember. Hello, Alan. Good to see you. Good to see you. I did mention I might be here. Thank you, Alan. It's much appreciated. I think I might have missed another donation while I was talking to Mega Essex Boy. I didn't hear the VAR. It has been a quite. Oh, hang on. I've got another couple. How are you, Alan? I missed a couple. Did I read out your have the sex box signed up to your sub? Oh yeah, I said they are my Substack. But I missed Grego's second one, didn't I? Let's deal with that. Right, people, it's 3:30 in the morning. What an interesting selection of guests we've had tonight. I do like the Glorious House of Scrubs, I really do. I mean, thank you, Alan. Much appreciated. You know, it's a real pleasure to be able to stream and know that there'll be 100 or so people that are nice, good, honest people. Oh, that's an interesting question, Della. Cruises. I suppose it will come down to whether they dock. Because I thought that when you went on a cruise, they dropped you off at different bits to go and have a wander. I didn't know that. I thought Cambodia had dropped that though. Wouldn't that have been amazing if there'd have been a knock at that door and Mega S's boy come in, biffed her, tinny. I got no shit. My missus said, "Who's that?" I said, "Yeah, no. You stay at home. I'll go out for a couple of drinks. I'll see you Friday." This is what Gregorian Chanter said, and I missed it. He said, "I think art school is teenage marshmallow test. The STEM lads win in the end. Thoughts?" Okay, nice one, Grego. So the marshmallow test is they get kids and they put one marshmallow in front of them. There's been loads of these. And they say to the kid, "You can have that marshmallow, but if you can wait 30 minutes, you can have a whole pack of marshmallows." And most of the kids just go, because it's instant gratification rather than waiting for better. And Grego is saying that art school is the teenage marshmallow test and the STEM lads win in the end. Well, I had 4 or 5 of the best years of my life at art school because you don't have to do much work, any work. You know, you can do a term's work in a week. Now, I was actually into it because I had a very good tutor and I read a lot and I studied a lot and, you know, I made an effort with what I'd done. So but most art schools are 70% women. And out of the remaining men, most of those are gaymans, you know, most of them are bondres. And I think Mega Essex boy dropped in Bondre, didn't he? And so you've got the run of the place. If you've got a little bit of chat, you're banging 3-4 women a week. That's quite good when you're 19. You know, I went to art school from 16. Hang on, 16, 17, till 21. That ain't bad going. No, it was. It was great talking to him. Casa called and says Cambo was a good move. Visa manageable, affordable, one of the fastest growing economies on the planet. Yeah, it's flying here. It's absolutely flying here, which is why it's a bit of a shit for me at the moment that the stock market's down, because if I cash in my meager savings now to buy land, that's what I've got. If I leave it for 10 years, I'll have plenty to retire on, and my missus and our kids if we get some. But if I cash it in to buy a bit of land, that's all I'll have. So it's a bit of bad timing there. But I've got there's other things on the go. You get through it, don't you? But yeah, the problem is, so if I don't buy the land, in 2 years' time, it's going to go through the roof. I was looking at land prices here when I first got here, Casa. When I first got here, I was immediately thinking, I don't want to be paying rent every fucking month, even though it's next to nothing. Certainly compared with Soho. I've got a huge place here, and it's about 500 quid a month. But I looked at the prices, and they've more than quadrupled in 4 or 5 years. There's no aging population. The average age of a Cambodian is about 27. Yeah, it's an interesting place, and if you've got a few quid, it's a good place to come now. Set up a business. Get into Phnom Penh. Set up. If I had the money, I'd set up a cafe for barangs, for foreigners, with a little bit of jazz, some nice handmade cakes, the sort of cafes they haven't got out here for barangs. There's plenty of Cambodian cafes, but you do well somewhere people can go at night where they're not going to be jumped on by all the naked women and you have to buy alcohol. That doesn't exist here. That's what I'd do. Now, I've still got my business, so there are options. My book might do well, but I've got a 4-year project on that anyway. It doesn't actually have to do that well, as long as I keep getting more things out. But there you go. This is life. Hello, Willow. I want to say something profound, but here's a fiver. Trust me, that's profound. This end. Nice one, Willow. A Prasha Cuckoo. Right, I've done 2.5 hours. It's 2:30 in the morning here. Thank you for that, Willow. Have I missed any more? I've done Gregor's, done that. All right, people. I am still scrubbing, but this ain't from the one this morning. It's not the same stream. I have had a few hours off and eaten and... Right, hang on. Pax Max is going mad. Last attempt. This will adjust Windows system sound, not main volume. No. I know that. Pax Max, listen. Last attempt. I haven't got a problem with my Windows system sound. What I'm trying to do is turn the sound down in Paint Shop Pro in one piece of software. The noise it makes when you close a window in Paint Shop. I appreciate you trying with your many cut and paste last attempts, because if it was the right info, I'd have been glad you'd done that. But I know how to do that. I didn't. Someone told me a couple of weeks ago. But I want to turn the volume down in one piece of software. But because it's a hacked bit of software from 20 years ago, I don't know if that's an option. So there you go. But thank you for trying. Yeah, this is the sound I'm trying to get rid of. Oh, well, I've got it turned down now anyway. But if it was louder, I don't want it too loud because it'll wake the missus. Crikey. But when I turn it down, you don't hear the vase. Here we go. Old classic. Well, listen, thank you to everyone who donated. That means the world. And really, I'll be honest with you, I know I joke about the grift, and I do like Ricata Law because he outright just says it's a grift. He's number 2 in the whole of YouTube super chats under Tim Ball, a law channel. It's incredible though, but he's got 75,000 people watching. It's like 20 quid, 50 quid, 20, 20, 50, 20, 5, 100, 50. He's a lawyer though. I've had lawyers that have taken my money off me like that before. But thank you to everyone who donated. Thank you to everyone who came on and talked. Lovely, great stuff. Willow likes that sound. Yeah, but it's because I've got it turned down. When it's really loud, it's awful. But anyway, thanks for everyone who donated. Thanks for... Where are we going with this? Thanks for everyone who came on. Without them, we didn't have a show. Thanks for Steve and Rags looking after the place. And thanks to the rest of you for continually coming to the streams. It would be nice if occasionally you could share the streams on, if you've got social media, just put it up when it's going live. Because it's nice when we get some new people. Not that there's anything wrong with the people here, but before diazepam gate, we were getting 250, 200 a stream, and I think that's a better number. Yeah, that's that. Listen, it's been great having 2 streams today. Right, hang on. This is the volume slider for Paint Shop 8 sounds. I don't know what that means at this stage, Max. I'll tell you what, Baz, I will do a Mumford track, but not that one because it's too hard to find. Hang on. I'll do a Scrubs classic. Hang on. Right. Take care, everyone, and I'll see you tomorrow. I will stream tomorrow. Sunday, isn't it? Lovely. I'm trying to time this right, but I don't think I am. Take care, everyone. Right, there you go. Look after yourselves, people, and I'll see you tomorrow. Ta-ta. Maybe the volume would be handy. See ya.
He said you would. Tell your mama you're coming home. Over all of that deafening drone. But you realize you've been sold when you feel the enemy's cold hard steel. Feel the dawn of your final day. Feel the fear and go anyway. Get a ride in that big black plane. Kill your conscience and numb your brain. But you'll realize you've been sold when you feel the enemy's cold hard steel. Because the wheels already been rolled when you feel the enemy's cold hard steel. Oh Lord. has begun. You'll be murdering someone's son.
Okay, I'll check that out. I'll go back over Max's comments and I'll sort it out.
The enemy's cold hard steel. 'Cause the wheels already been rolled when you feel the enemy's cold hard steel. Oh Lord, yes, you'll realize you've been sold when you feel the enemy's cold hard steel. Oh Lord, 'cause the wheels already been rolled when you feel the enemy's cold hard steel. Oh Lord, hey.
Okay, I understand now that there's an application volume slider. I ain't doing it now. If I start that now, it'll take months. Yeah, he's very good. He's very good. He's very good. Now go on. Bugger off down your own end, you cheeky little bugger. Oh, steady. Back on my own vape. And see you later, Gaiman. I will talk to you soon. Right.